And now that the property is so high and so expensive, it's like predatory activity every day. Even as I make these comments, there are probably people out in the Hunters Point area, Bayview, knocking on doors saying, look, here's $100,000 in cash, and if someone buys that, then boy, about a month later, they'll have that property up for $350,000 or $400,000 or $500,000. And that's and because the Asian population and the Latino population are pretty well organized and strong, then the African American community is the predatory for this gentrification. So, and this is, I mean, it is, it's alarming. I mean, this has never happened, according to the British Broadcasting Company. I've been interviewed by them, and I asked the question, what would be your interest in San Francisco? And they have responded, listen, we know the gentrification in San Francisco, and the world has asked us to take a look at what's going on. So it is the most remarkable thing that's happening here. I mean, it's comparable to the Trail of Tears when they drove the Indians off of the West Coast, or the civilized nations, the Cherokees and the Seminoles, or the Seminoles didn't move, but many of the Creeks out of Louisiana and whatever, and drove them out to Oklahoma. And today is Columbus Day, and you see I have on my shirt an Indian, and it is that probably was one of the early great gentrifications of mankind. And I'm primarily wearing this because I understand Columbus was very brutal. And speaking of gentrification, boy, their land was taken and they were moved out, and we have that continuing today with the African American community. So I am just sitting here watching this, fighting. The San Francisco African American Chamber of Commerce is doing everything it can. It has protested. We've submitted articles in the New York Times and the San Francisco Chronicle. We've even threatened the city with an embargo, and still may proceed on that. In other words, a tourism embargo, saying do not come to San Francisco because it is just totally abusive to African Americans that have taken their property. And I'm not saying it's all straight up and down racism, but it's the predatory, and the city is not doing enough, in my opinion, to stop this gentrification. It is absolutely awful. I see African Americans leaving the city all the time, and it is just a misfortune to humanity, and it's just a continuation of slavery in many ways, how they have proceeded. And today it's a very good time to talk about this, because my brothers, the Indian nations, have suffered this, and it's continuing today. And I think perhaps as we have our backs to the sea, meaning African Americans in San Francisco, there may be some very drastic things happen before we are totally gentrified.